Hello there, my name is Ben Worthington from IELTSPodcast.com. Thank you for watching this tutorial today. We're going to look into how to get ideas for those lovely IELTS Writing Task 2 questions. Now, I know your pain. I know that you look at IELTS Writing Task 2 questions and you think, what? My mind goes blank. Now, I hear this all the time because I've been preparing students for over 10 years now. You see, when I started as an English tutor, I knew it was my career. I just felt it inside. I had just that feeling. I was like, I'm in the right career here. But there was still something that wasn't right. And that was because I was struggling, and I was struggling to get results. For example, in the weekend, I'd be teaching kids. In the evenings, I'd be teaching business students. During the week, I'd be teaching some university students. And then every now and again, I'd get an IELTS student. But when I got that IELTS student, wow, I loved it because I was getting measured. And I could see whether what I was doing was working or not. And this also created some frustration though when the student didn't get their exam results. So what I started doing was asking around and asking other tutors how they taught the IELTS exam. And I picked up some amazing advice and I thought, hang on a second, I can record this and I can release it and help more students and more tutors. And that's exactly what I did. I set up IELTSPodcast.com and it got to the point where we're well over 500 podcasts now, and what I do is I interview language experts, pronunciation professionals. I take what works, put it in the course, and that's how the course just gets better and better each year. Now, the technique I'm going to share with you today, is about getting ideas for the question. Before we get into it, let's just take a step back and I want to help you to understand why you're struggling, okay? First of all, the IELTS exam is from an Anglo-Saxon point of view, and the education system in the Anglo-Saxon countries is very different from the East or the Southern Hemisphere. So what does that mean? It means we're taught from a very early age to sort of give our own opinion, to give our own view on things. And this is why it's so much easier. I mean, of course the language helps, but this is why it's so much easier for a person from an Anglo-Saxon upbringing to attack these questions, because the education system in other countries, it could be based on memory, it could be based more on science, it could be based more on just rote learning or drills. And then when you get asked your own opinion about issues, it creates a lot of frustration. And then on top of that, some of these questions are not straightforward. And this is why people even myself still have to take a few seconds to digest these questions to make sure I'm answering it right. But we're going to solve these issues, and I'm going to give you one, a technique to help you fill your head with ideas. Two, a site that's extremely valuable to help you look at the pros and the cons. And then thirdly, at the end of the tutorial, I'm going to go through some recent questions seen on the exam for the quarter January 2023. And if you don't know, every quarter during the year, the questions get rotated, and we've got the fresh batch here, and I'm going to go through them and tell you exactly what I would do for each of those questions. It's an incredible shortcut. Of course, it's not the definitive answer because, as I said, there's lots of different viewpoints, but it'll help you give you a quick and easy start into this process. Now, this process works, and I can tell you that definitively because every week we get students going through the course and thanking us. And this is exactly what happened to Alejandro. I know I'm pronouncing that in a Spanish way. It's probably because of my time in Spain, maybe because of Lady Gaga, but he's from Poland, and he's a pharmacist, and he needed to pass the IELTS exam. He was trying lots of different ways, YouTube videos and all of this, and he was getting extremely frustrated. And eventually he took our course, he got the feedback, and he jumped from 6.5 to 7 in just 3 weeks. So listen to that tutorial down below. And Alejandro's case was very common. You see, there's 2 things that you need to score high in the IELTS exam. One is high language skills, which take a little bit of time to develop. And the second is high exam skills. Now, if you're lacking in one of those, it's probably the reason why you're at a 6 or a 6.5 and you can't get the band score you want. Now, here's a quick and dirty secret. Exam skills are the fastest to learn, and usually these are the ones the students are missing, because they might just, they'll go to a normal language tutor who will say, oh, your sentences don't sound right, you've got to make them sound more academic or whatever. And that's not really IELTS specific. What you need is specific exam advice. And I'm going to go more into this later on. But the exam skills are the quickest, the easiest to learn. And these are what help you jump. These are the skills like Alejandro needed to jump to a whole half a band score in just 3 weeks, and confidently. Okay, so it doesn't just go, exam skills don't just cover writing academically. They don't just cover cohesive paragraphs, which is more in the realm of academic English. Exam skills, IELTS specific exam skills, are exactly what we're going to look at today. A hold of the new exam questions for January 2023. For those who don't know, every quarter the exams questions get changed and they get updated, and they kind of like rotate them. So we're not saying study these questions and you might get So here we've got a list of the new questions added to the kind of like question bank that the IELTS exam are using for this quarter. Now, it is possible that you might find a question on your paper that we don't have here. These are the new ones that our students have seen and that we found around the internet, and we're going to go through a few of these. But rather than give you the whole list of answers, which are in a podcast down below, the entire list of possible answers, because there isn't a definitive answer for each question. And that goes back to what I was saying before about the cultural issue, about the idea here is that you're generating ideas that are logically plausible. That's the key here. They have to be like believable. There isn't a right or wrong answer. You can argue it any which way you want, just has to be reasonable. Okay? I cannot say something like Scotland is the #1 gold exporter in the world. It's just farcical. It's just a joke. Nobody believes that. Okay? But I could say Scotland is the #1 whiskey exporter in the world. Could be, I don't know, might have competition with the US, I don't really know, but at least it's believable, You're going to believe that Scotland exports whiskey more than a country like, I don't know, Tanzania, for example, So, I'll work through a few of these questions. We're going to look at the exam skill you need in order to answer these questions. In our online course, we give you the whole system, and it's so much easier. We tell you how to identify the 5 types of questions, and then we tell you the procedure for each one. Here, we're a bit pushed for time. I'm going to give you the general overview, okay? And I'm going to show you the general overview in action, which is probably what you need. So first of all, let's go to the I was going to open it in a Word document. We're fine here. In recent years, there has been growing interest in the relationship between equality and personal achievement. Some people believe that individuals can achieve more in egalitarian societies. Others believe that high levels of personal achievement are possible only if the individuals are free to succeed or fail according to their individual merits. Discuss both sides and give your opinion. So what's the first side? If there's both, there's two. So what's the first side? Here, some people believe that individuals can achieve more in fairer, more equality-based societies. Okay? That's body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 2, personal achievement. High levels of personal achievement are possible with more freedom. Okay? According to their individual merits. So that's body paragraph 2. We've got to learn how to simplify the question. Now, I've got my position for each of my body paragraphs. So it's not just ideas, okay? It's not just ideas. So I'm sorry if you're a student who goes, I've got no ideas for this. Well, you need more than just ideas. You need position. But first we get our position. This is where a lot of students fail. So a lot of students struggle. We've got to get our position. Position 1 for body paragraph 1 is some people believe that individuals can achieve more in fairer societies. Now that's kind of like the starting point. My position is that I completely agree with this because now I've got my starting point and I've got the direction. I know where I'm going. Okay, this is incredibly important because if we mess up here, we're writing an essay that the examiner doesn't want. So we've really got to understand the question. This is why we go into it in so much more detail in the online course. So people achieve more in fairer societies because 1, the education is more freely available to everyone. 2, in fairer societies, if you fail, the government usually has a system in place to soften the blow, such as the dole, income support, benefits. Okay, this reduces the risk considerably, so people are more willing to try out new projects. Okay, and then I would give an example, such as something like Sweden or one of the Scandinavian countries. Sweden has a very high level of government involvement in the economy, in society, largely protecting people from economic hardship, and this creates quite an entrepreneurial society which has given birth to companies such as Spotify. Okay, so a nice little example there at the end to prove what I'm saying. Now, I did not forget the whole tutorial is how to get ideas. So how did I form that? First of all, I would have researched what egalitarian societies mean, because usually, it could be a vocabulary problem. So I would research that. That would give me more idea. I would dive into the topic and I'd start reading around the subject. A fast way to do this is to go to procon.org. So procon.org, okay, is a great shortcut. Look at all of these questions. Okay, dress code, dangerous dogs. So imagine we get a question about homework. Okay, actually let's just say we're talking about fairer societies. Fairer societies are usually like socialist policies or socialist governments. Okay, socialism. Okay, and it's going to give me the pros and cons, hopefully. Pros and cons, American socialism. This is actually perfect, because if we go back to the question, it's basically asking, high levels of personal achievement, free to succeed or fail according to their merits. Okay, and the US is a perfect example. It's like the opposite of Sweden. It's very open. It's not the opposite of Sweden, sorry, but it's one of the societies with the highest amount of economic freedom. Okay, and we can read around the topic here and get some good facts, but also we can get the pros and cons. Okay, here it's not exactly what we need, but it's closer. Okay, because the American the job of the government is to enable free enterprise and then get out of the way. Ingenuity and hard work, Does that sound familiar? High levels of success, high levels of achievement. Okay, capitalist structures do more harm done by unfettered whatever. Okay, so some of these are going to be on topic, some of them are not. All right, it's up to you to decide, and it's quite tricky, I understand. That's why below I've posted a podcast where you can listen to my ideas, my positions, and how I would develop them. So body paragraph 1, I'm going to talk about society in Scandinavia as a high level society, a high functioning society with lots of economic sort of like risk aversion, or lots of economic benefits for those who do suffer from the hardship, so it makes entrepreneurialism easier. And then I'm going to talk about high levels of personal achievement are only possible in countries if individuals are free to succeed or fail. I'm going to look at Elon Musk, and I'm going to say the United States has the highest amount of freedom, and this gives birth to some of the world's most successful people, economically speaking. For example, Elon Musk quickly left South Africa for a country with more economic freedom, such as the United States, and within 20 years became the richest man on earth. Okay, that's my argument here. But the point here, okay, is I'm going to tell you how to get ideas. What you do is you find the keywords, you research them, you go to sites like Procon, you start generating ideas. This is a slow process at first. Eventually you get quicker at doing this. And do not beat yourself up, okay? As I said at the beginning, this is a cultural issue, okay? Just like when you're struggling with the English language at first, there might have been some irregular verbs you just never got, but eventually you got there. That's why you're here today and you're on your next challenge, okay? And this is just another skill you need. In this case, it's an exam skill. Just one more skill and you're almost there, okay? Our course bundles all these skills together and you can fly through it just like Alex did and get there within 3 weeks, if you're in a rush. Our personalities are predetermined as a result of our genes before we are born, and there is nothing that can be done to change our character traits. To what extent do you agree, disagree? Okay, here I strongly agree with this point in body paragraph 1. It is destiny, okay? And I'm going to talk about, let's see. I'm going to talk about autism. For example, autism is determined at the very beginning through genetics, I don't know. Some people believe it's vaccines. I'm not entirely sure. I'm just going to say that autism is determined by genetics. And let's see, maybe I should research this beforehand, but this brings me on to an important point. It's plausible, okay? It's plausible, and the examiner is not testing my knowledge of genetics or autism, surprisingly. The examiner only wants to test my ability on being able to communicate the argument. Okay, of course it has to be plausible, like I was talking about Scotland and gold before. It has to be believable. I don't know if the examiner does have knowledge about autism or not, but it's kind of believable. And also I'm going to put in another argument there that that it is destiny, and that we're born and we can't really change it. Okay, and I might talk about dyslexia as well, and other changes, and other kind of, what do we call them, mental states. I'll talk about autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia, and how all these are mental disabilities determined at birth and are largely genetic rather than the circumstances and cannot be changed, okay? Body paragraph 2, I'm going to say that it can be changed and our personalities can be changed. This is why we have anger management courses. And I'm going to say also, brothers and sisters largely have similar genetic, largely have similar genetics. However, that So you would expect they would have similar personalities and similar predetermined levels of similar character traits. However, Elon Musk has 2 other brothers and they haven't reached the same amount of success as he has. Therefore, there must be something else other than genes. Okay, so I'm going to just use a hypothetical argument there. Not the strongest of arguments here, but I would be able to communicate it effectively, especially if I'm using one of the CTRT templates. I could get away with mediocre ideas, which I have here. I must admit, those are mediocre ideas, but we're not getting tested on our ability to come up with amazing ideas or our amazing intelligence on the subjects of genetics, as you just witnessed in my case. But we are going to get tested on our ability to communicate those ideas, because this is a language exam. So this is why having a template, having a system just makes it so much easier, because you just get your ideas and you drop them into the template. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Final point. Some people believe that teaching children at home is best for a child's development. Body paragraph 1. Okay? While. We've got the conjunction here, so it's a good indicator that we'll get into the other side, the other point of view. Others think it's important for children to go to school. Discuss the advantages of each method and give your own opinion. Advantages of homeschooling are: the child spends more time with their parents. 2, the parents have more control over the education. 3, the child, I would develop that second point. The adults get more control over the education. This is important because now they can be taught more about their own culture and their own history, which is important, especially for minorities and migrants, or sons and children of migrants. 3 solid arguments, well developed. Body paragraph 2, the advantages of going to school. You learn about other cultures and other religions, for example. 2, you get to be made socially more adept and don't end up like a weirdo. No, I'm just joking. You get more socially adept, more socially aware, and social skills, build social skills. 2, you're more likely to practice in team sports because there's more people there. Team sports are crucial to a child's development. So I've easily discussed the advantages of both ideas there. And then in the conclusion, I'm just going to say there's benefits to both that your parents should choose depending on their own situation. Okay? And I'm not going to develop it. I'm not going to say, for example, a migrant family might be more prone to go for homeschooling because of their religion, whereas a non-migrant family might be more prone to go to the homeschool. I'm not going to develop it any further. I would just be repeating myself and going around in circles. Just give a very brief, succinct summary. Okay, so there we go. In the podcast below, which I strongly recommend you listen to, there's 2 podcasts actually. There's one with the recent questions. Have a listen to that, please. We go through the entire list of the new questions, and it just gives you a real sort of like baptism, so to speak, of what we're doing on the course. And of course, on the course, as I said, we give you the techniques to identify the questions, which makes it a bit more accurate. And accuracy is important, because if you start simplifying it incorrectly and then you start developing it incorrectly, you end up in the wrong destination. Okay? You can end up writing the wrong essay, and this is exactly what you'll find happened to Alex when he was just preparing with YouTube and other online resources. He found that he was not answering the question asked. This is so common, and it's very quick to solve once you've got a system on how to simplify the right question and generate the right ideas and the right positions, and then you're away. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, because you've watched to the end of this tutorial, it's clear you're an action taker. We only like working with action takers. That's why we offer courses with the essay corrections the the essay corrections included. And this is why we're rewarding action takers. For example, you can get this course, which is worth $300. 15 students a month can get this course for $100 off. We offer 15 coupons a month with a $100 discount. Usually by the middle or the end of the month, they are gone and you'll have to wait till the next month or just pay the full price. But here what you're getting is you're getting the course, which I've talked about with the CTRT templates, the system to make sure you're answering the right question. You're also going to get the speaking confidence course that just insanely boosts your confidence insanely quickly, helps you deliver accurate answers quickly, which greatly boosts your fluency levels. You're going to get the reading course. You're going to get full 24-hour email support. You're going to get 55% if you need more essay corrections. You're going to 55% discount if you need more essay corrections. And you're also going to get the academic task 1 course and the general task 1 course. Usually this goes for a big discount at $300 and you save $120 usually. However, we're going to extend that discount, include a coupon for $100 off, and you're going to get it for $199. And then when you start, you're going to quickly realize that these exam skills will boost your essay writing abilities. Don't take my word for it. Have a listen to the podcast. Come back to this page, get your discount coupon, and I'll see you on the course. Have a fantastic day and good luck with your IELTS preparation.